Hey everybody, this is Blue. My friend Carlos recently posted a video talking about microwave witches. I thought it was a very good video, so there will be a link about that below. What Carlos was talking about is how modern witches want instant results with their spell work. They are creating a false sense of capability concerning magic. I have made videos about this subject before, and with Carlos's video as a different point of view, I think it is a good idea to discuss again. Magic is fickle. It depends on what you are doing and why you're doing it. First, we have to define what magic is. There are many schools of thought on that subject. So how it is explained is going to be different depending on whom you ask. As I see it, magic is the use of energy to create change to obtain a desired goal. One of the biggest problems that I see is the concept that one spell fixes everything, and that is the furthest from the truth. We have to understand our goal, our intent. If it is an easy task, then sure, one spell should work to achieve our goal. So if you are looking for your house keys, one spell is all you need to find those things today. However, if you are looking for love, one spell might not do it. I would suggest that before you do any spell work that you write down a clear intent of what you want and everything that is blocking your goal. One of the obstacles in performing magic is the lack of a clear intent by the creator. Now look at what you wrote down. You are asking your magical skills to resolve these situations. Some would suggest that for every obstacle that you face to achieve your goal, you must do a separate incantation. So if you want world peace, you might as well forget about doing it in one night. With such a massive goal, I would suggest a nightly incantation every night for 3 weeks. You want to have a love spell? Well then, I'd suggest every night for a week. I say this because you do not know of all the loves that person might have, and that's a lot of emotions to work through. One area that upsets me the most is the consecration of tools. I see so many people buying their equipment online and barely do anything to connect with it. Anyone that spends a night with their wand and thinks that that's all it takes um, for their equipment to be connected is a fool. All of our equipment is an extension of who we are, but there has to be a connection for that extension to exist. So if you just bought your equipment, I feel that you should spend a you know, every night for a week per piece of equipment that you have bought to establish that connection. That is why I think it's important to build your first wand. If these tools are supposed to be sacred to you, shouldn't you treat them as sacred items themselves? Tarot cards are also tools, and they have been fundamentally destroyed by this mentality. I say this because people are buying multiple decks as collectors and not really users. I know people that own over 20 decks. I find it impossible to build a connection with each deck. Now, some of them have told me that they own 20 decks, but they only use 2. I own 1 deck, and I'm happy with that. I am able to spend my energies focused on that 1 deck so that I believe that I would have greater amount of success with that 1 deck compared to someone who had 20 decks. I have talked to people that collect tarot decks. A majority feels that they can open a deck and use it that day. Because I don't see the work in the deck, I doubt the results of that deck. Dedication is a massive part of spell work. You will only receive after you put in the effort required. Instant spells exist, and sometimes the results do come quickly. However, most magic works in subtle ways. Any incantation that you do today can manifest itself in a week, 2 months, or heck, even 5 years. That is a part of creating a solid, well-defined intent. There is no incantation guaranteed to work every time, so a person must be prepared to do an incantation a second or third time if needed. Dedication is not about spending the required time only. It is about making sure that you are prepared and that you have everything you need. There is a great fascination with finding people to prevent them from doing harm to others. However, I doubt that a majority of the people are prepared to commit to such a task. You are creating a tether to a person that could last for years. In my dealing with Wiccans that love to bind, I have read about them binding themselves to rapists and child molesters. I think that it is a stupid thing to do because I do not want that type of connection with a pervert. Dedication is also about learning. We should never quit learning. The day you stop learning is the day you stop living. I see people foolish enough to believe that after reading one book, they feel they are qualified for anything pertaining to that book. Unfortunately, many books that you can buy at your local occult store will only give you a brief segment on a topic. A person should read 4 or 5 books on a specific subject before they make any claims of expertise. I did a couple of videos talking about the Alexandrian Wiccan decree system. So many of today's eclectic Wiccans do not force themselves to learn what is required in traditional Wicca. In many pagan forms, they use the year and a day concept. Most eclectic Wiccans shun this concept as well. They are so concerned with the title, their willingness to ignore what makes that title important is very scary. Dedication to learning is important in the aspect of safety as well. Herbalism works with poisonous plants as well, so it is important that you know which plants can kill you. If you are going to talk or summon an entity, you need to know how to protect yourself and close whatever gates you open. Do not summon what you cannot handle. Nothing is free. Always remember that. Asking for help without effort, without commitment, without justification will end up hurting you in the end. There are many schools of thought about self-gain. Some believe that you cannot use magic for self-gain. I believe that magic can be used for self-gain as long as you are not being overly greedy. I also believe that you have to work with the magic to achieve success. We have to sacrifice something to achieve something. So I believe that if I was to ask for $1,000 but refuse to do anything to earn it, if given that $1,000, it will cost me in some other manner that will hurt me even more. Even when we use modern technologies in our magic, it does not mean that's instant magic. I have talked about sigil cyber magic, but none of it was instantaneous. These are accumulation spells. It takes time to get the desired effect. Every time somebody did a particular action, the incantation added a little bit more energy for the desired result. Such as with the thumbs down incantation. A person will not notice any effort for doing that action once or twice. I do this in a way to protect the innocent people. I do not believe they should be punished when they don't know what they are doing. Think about it in this manner. Every time somebody activated the incantation, a half-pound weight was added to their back. Barely noticeable those first couple times. However, after 20 times, a person has a 10-pound weight strapped to their back and they're starting to get burdened. Dedication is also about seeing it to the end. Too many people give up under the slightest difficulty or obstruction. Creating change can be very messy. Sometimes we have to go through hardship to get the reward. You can't expect a promotion at work unless you're willing to earn it. If a person is promoted, then another person is demoted. This can cause troubles at work, and if you quit halfway through, all you're doing is causing more trouble. Remember when I told you to write down a detailed letter of intent? Well, if you're realistic, you would have seen some of the possibilities involved to get the change that you wanted. The more difficult a goal or results is, the greater the possibility that things can go wrong, or unexpected events can occur. So you must be able to see everything to its end to maintain influence and to achieve the desired results. An incantation should never be an effortless action. When performing such an act, you should feel tired and spent. Again, the more difficult it is to achieve the goal, the more energy is required. It is a part of the work to extend your arms and feel the energy leave your body. I am reminded a few years ago, we had some bad weather where I live, and the wind was very, very strong. Some of the trees were bent in a manner that I've never seen before. So I started to chant. I worked to steer the strong winds away from people. My arms were extended, and I could feel the energy leave my body. As a result, we discovered that there was a tornado within 2 miles of the town that I live in. And it was barely did any damage to anyone in the town. You cannot be lazy and expect magic to work. To be successful, you must be able to plan out what needs to be done. Get everything together that you need. Devote the time required to work. Open yourself to the tasks needed and see it to the end. Being part of the instant gratification is an automatic failure in magic. Nobody is perfect. I have to remind myself at times as well. Forget about magic being a one-act show to answer all your problems. You have to work and prepare yourself for difficulties if you want to succeed.